Episode 221, AI Masterclass with Joanne Sweeney.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI 6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Well, this is a very special edition of The Long Listen on AI 6. This week, I am bringing you behind the scenes of a recent AI Masterclass that I delivered to those who pre-ordered my book, AI Playbook, and they were rewarded with a 2-hour AI Masterclass with me, where I brought them through my favourite AI tools and how to use them. So let me tell you, my friends, that was a very smart investment of €25 or of $30. And if you haven't got your hands on your copy of AI Playbook, go ahead and check out aimarketingplaybook.ie, or it's also available on Amazon. I'm going to be recording the audiobook this autumn with an intended release on Audible by Christmas. So, the treat for this week is learn some more about AI from me from this exclusive webinar. Enjoy. Well, guys, it's great to see you all here, and thank you so much for investing in AI Playbook. But it's over to you now. I've written the book, I've done the hard work, I've done the practice, and my practice continues because, hey, we're all trying to go from AI 0 to hero. But please do take the book, leave it on your desk, dip in and out, and apply it in your own workplace, because you now are an important AI influencer. And as you know, I'm trying to build a total tribe of AI for good. So I want you to make your AI intentions. And I think potentially they're already clear because you have committed to investing in the book and being here today. And if you're watching the replay, hello, and sorry you couldn't make it live, but any questions that you have afterwards, drop me a note and I'll be happy to answer them. And in terms of AI intentions, what I mean by that is, how are you going to embrace it? Number one is literacy. That's absolutely key. That's the first rung on the ladder. The book will give you all the literacy that you need. There's an index, a glossary of terms. And if you listen to my podcast, AI 6, it's 6 minutes a day. As AI evolves, I will commit to teaching you, because I have this kind of value in my business. And the value is, even if we never do business, you can learn from me. The monthly free webinars, buying the book, you get this webinar and the podcast and blog post. So make an intention to become AI literate, because if you can talk about AI in the rooms where you are influencing, and maybe it's influencing up or influencing across, that's really important, because a lot of people are fearful, and with fear comes paralysis or analysis. So that's the first thing, AI literate. The second thing is an AI use case or AI use cases. How are you going to demonstrate the difference the AI can make? And we do that through AI pilots. So choosing one task or a series of tasks and showing the before and after. And I'll give you a few tips on that. And then thirdly, I'd say the intention is this is a preview to tomorrow's podcast, the FOMA. So it is the opportunity that AI provides. Some people have a fear of missing out mindset. Some people have a fear of messing up mindset. But all of us have a mindset of identifying the AI opportunity for me. Okay? So, with all of that said, in making your AI intentions to be here, to be AI literate, and to bring it into your workplace, the next thing is developing an AI marketing use case. There's lots of them in the book that you can dip in, but it doesn't matter how small the AI use case is. What you need to do is to be able to articulate and explain how AI is adding value. and also what guardrails you're putting in place to protect your organization and to, I guess, human-proof the end product that AI is providing. And that's where policy comes in. And there's a whole chapter on the book, From Policy to Practice. But really identifying where AI adds value and being able to map that out, the before, the after, and explaining the value. So I will talk about use cases as I show you the tools, and we can have conversations and brainstormings throughout this session as well. And this is something that I shared at the book launch and at an event in Galway last week, but many of you weren't here. And I just want to go through this. So this is kind of where we want to be going as leaders in our field. And as you know, I say it constantly, marketing and communications professionals and business owners and whatever role you have, we're perfectly placed to lead the AI revolution because AI is communications, it's not coding. We don't even need to code because the bots can do us for us. But what we need to do is to be able to articulate clearly to the bots, to our stakeholders, to our staff and our citizens, how we're using AI and how it's benefiting them. So at the bottom of this kind of knowledge base of AI are AI tools. So we're using Copilot, we're using Claude, we're using ChatGPT, we're using Canva AI, we're using Perplexity. So we're using standalone AI tools to help us with productivity, efficiency, creativity, and taking away the drudge that is in all of our everyday working lives. So that's kind of the entry level to AI. And with ChatGPT having 800 million weekly users, it's fair to say that AI is now mainstream. Whether it's approved at work or whether it's not, we are using it. So that's the entry level of AI. The next level where we want to be going, and I'm going to show you this today in practice, is how to create our own AI assistants. So this is whereby we use the AI tools, we use the AI technology along with our own, and it's called a corpus. I believe that word is in my glossary of terms on my index. It's a corpus, and a corpus is a bank of knowledge. And what you need to do is you need to start organizing your corpus. Okay? I don't care where you hold it, if it's in SharePoint, Google Drive, Dropbox, but I want you to start organizing your repository of knowledge. Because what we can do, and what I'll demonstrate a little bit later, is that we're going to take all of that knowledge, we're going to combine it with the AI technology, and we're going to create an assistant. And it uses, the technical term is RAG, and that is where your knowledge is used to train the AI assistant, okay? Because what we can have in AI is hallucination, making things up. And ChatGPT has a little disclaimer going, hey, sometimes I get things wrong. Please double check. So what we want to do is we want to train the assistant in as much of our knowledge base as possible. And that knowledge base can be text, PDFs, Word docs, it can be audio, it can be video, it can be spreadsheets, it can be databases. So it's the data that's fueling the AI assistant to become more knowledgeable for us and to become more truly valuable and to become more like an assistant that we will use every day. Because currently what you're doing is you're probably like using the tools and starting the task over and over again. Hey, ChatGPT, can you please, help me write this press release, write a social media plan? And you're starting from scratch, and that's not very efficient. So what we can do is we can actually train the assistant, just like you would train a new hire, just like somebody coming on a graduate program. You would read them into a brief. You would onboard them with videos, with shadowing you, with attending meetings. So all of that we are doing with our AI assistant. The same premise occurs. So after we get to that level and we have an assistant that is trained in our knowledge base and that can complete tasks for us as good, hopefully, as we would do them ourselves, then we move on to agentic AI, and I'll show you a tool that you can use for that. And in fact, ChatGPT have introduced agentic AI into pro and premium versions too. So agentic AI is at the level where we should be going in the next 12 months. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Start at your entry level, move up, and try and get to having the skills and the understanding of agentic AI. Suffice to say, agentic AI needs a lot of oversight and needs a lot of governance. Agents are independent, autonomous assistants, and they work independently of us. Once we brief them, once we give them access to our systems, and they can read and interact with multiple systems simultaneously. So think about your CRM system, think about your website, think about email marketing, your social media management tool, having access to your website to add new articles or blogs. So your accounting system, your emails, they are hugely powerful because they can work independently without human oversight, and they can operate within multiple separate systems. So heretofore, maybe we'd have like Microsoft, and maybe Microsoft agent would only be able to operate in the environment of the Microsoft world, or Google Workspace. Maybe that agent could only operate within the Google Workspace world. And yes, there are agentic capabilities within those, but the power of agentic AI in something like Zapier or NR8 or now ChatGPT agentic AI is that they can read multiple systems. The system and the platform is completely irrelevant. And they will complete a whole suite of tasks for us. So just like you and I have to log in to multiple platforms every single day to complete different tasks, the reality is right now that agents can do that for us. It's remarkable. It really is remarkable. And it probably ignites some excitement in you. The other part of you, the human part of you goes, oh, what if it gets it wrong? And that's a lot of power to give to a bot. Might the bot ultimately become boss? And what does that do with me? Do I become redundant? No, absolutely not. The promise in the book is that if you learn AI and you embrace it, you have just added to your value, your human value, your professional value, and your relevance right now. And I talk about you plus me plus AI is better. And that's definitely the promise. So those are the three layers of AI right now where your ambition should be. Okay. That's where I'm encouraging you to go. Give yourself, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 12 months. Think about this as your professional development plan. And if you are having these conversations with your boss or HR, say that to them. Say, I have an ambition to be able to level up to really understand and lead out in agentic AI in our organization. And can I be trained in that? And thanks to Bobby for helping my brain freeze. Retrieval augmented generation, or is retrieving the information from your corpus, from your knowledge base. Augmenting is using all of that along with a prompt to create something new. And then the generation, it's like the AI, it generates something from a prompt. So really powerful, and it all exists. So another intention, I want to be a comms and marketing professional or a business leader working in my own business who has the capability, the literacy, the competency, and the confidence to move from using AI tools to creating AI assistants to then creating and scaling agentic AI within my organization. Okay. Who wants to create a custom GPT? Who wants to move from just using tools to creating our own assistant? Let's do it. So let's open up ChatGPT. You need to have the Pro or the premium versions. If you don't, that's okay. You can watch along, and this is being recorded. Pro is €20 a month, so nothing that will break the bank. But just to be able to see RAG in action. So let me open up my browser here. We have some trending GPTs, custom GPTs. We have some featured ones like Canva is in there. And so there are systems and tools that have already integrated into ChatGPT, which means that we can use them within the platform. And we're free to use any of these. There's some by ChatGPT. There's some under the writing category. There's some under the productivity category, some under research and analysis, some under education and lifestyle. So you can explore the whole range of GPTs that are already there and that are published within OpenAI's platform. But what we want to do is we want to really create our own AI assistant. So we're moving from using ChatGPT as a daily tool that we all use to actually seeing what it can do for ourselves. So if you have the Pro version at this stage in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you should be able to see Create. And honestly, they're making this so simple. And that's what I want to remind you. While this will be new, when I think of UX and UI, like design and user interfaces, they're making these so clean, not cluttered, because what they want is they want us to embrace it and they don't want us to be overwhelmed, which is great. And also what I would say is I really feel that AI is the democratization of technology. It's open to anyone and everyone. And as I learned at Harvard, one of the big takeaways this summer was the people who are going to win in the AI race are those of us, and everyone in this room has it, are domain experts, right? So a domain expert is somebody who has a niche area of expertise. And we all have one, right? Call mine public sector marketing and communications, right? We all have a domain area of expertise. And when you bring that niche expertise and all our lived experience, all that intuitiveness that just comes with a feeling, you think about the last door or the last room or the last virtual room that you walked into in the last 24 hours that was work related. You were able to show up probably with, maybe you didn't have notes prepared or a presentation. It was just a meeting. You had your pen and paper or your iPad or whatever you brought with you. But when you walked into that room, you had a level of intuitiveness that was gained through years of experience, years of interactions with colleagues, having winning projects, having projects that weren't so winning, the losing, the winning, and everything in between. That's what we bring to the AI age. And that's what domain expertise is. And that we all bring something new. Like you could go onto YouTube today and learn everything that I'm teaching you, but we're all together because we're connected by the book, I guess, and just connected by a shared interest of, being in as part of this group together. And so we want to create our own GPT. So before we do anything, let's have a brainstorm. What will your assistant do? Rather than giving your assistant the power to do everything, let's give them or him or her, whatever pronoun you want to give your assistant. I call it her because she's like my assistant and she's like a mini me. So what will your assistant do? Rather than giving her or him or they so many tasks, I would prefer to create a few different assistants that have different skill sets. So, mine might be the AI6 podcast editor, right? Because I have to write a daily podcast. And what I do, how my current process for that is I have a note on my phone called podcast ideas. And when I'm going through TikTok or listening to news or scrolling anywhere or subscribe to newsletters, I write down my idea. My next step is that I voice note my feelings or my ideas on it into an app called VoicePal. And so VoicePal collects all my thought bubbles. And then I'll throw that into ChatGPT and then it will kind of draft it out. But I'm sure that I could get my AI6 podcast editor to actually do a lot of that work for me. So that's going to be my assistant. So let's get into our instructions. And we want to be detailed here, okay? So you are tasked with writing my AI6 podcast scripts, and that's daily 6-minute podcast, professionals in AI, covers news, tools, evolving technologies, case studies, use cases, purpose it for blog post. You'll take my audio files where I drop my ideas, my perspectives, my questions, and any research I have done, including YouTube videos. Like I would use Gemini a lot to find YouTube videos of clips that I can use in the podcast because it's an audio podcast, audio first podcast, and it just adds to it, and my own work. So you can add in then, what do you want it to avoid? So I will say, you will write in UK, speak in my conversational tone. I'm going to say, listen to previous episodes. You will avoid hallucinations by asking me clarifying questions until you are 100% confident that you can answer the question. Now, okay, please take the 100% confidence levels also with a pinch of salt. We got to test her and road test her and see how she can perform. What else do we don't want her to do? I want you to avoid taking ideas from other sources. I always credit sources' work. And so citing source is key. And this is a nice one. I want my assistant to question me. Because again, if I'm in a room with a group of you, it's easier for me than if I'm on my own, because you ask me questions and that allows me to think deeper or bring in other perspectives. So I want my assistant to also question me. And I think that's a nice, because you've got back and forth. And when somebody asks you a question, you're like, oh, I never thought of that. And then you think of new information. So let's add that. I would like you to question me to help develop my own critical thinking, because isn't that one of the criticisms of AI, that we're going to use, gosh, all that years of critical thinking that we've built up? I don't think we will, but let's not hand it over. Jack says, is it best to use natural language when creating instructions or to go with something more structured, such as JSON, which is kind of used in code, right? I mean, let's test it. Maybe let's test it, because what you want to do is maybe start with natural language, see how it goes. Then you can always go back and update your instructions and maybe test. And actually, maybe you put both in and ask it to give you 2 windows. So it'll open up the canvas with option A and option B so that you can test. Good question. Okay. And always with this, you'll think of things after the fact, and that's okay. Okay. So let's see how the assistant is doing. So here is the notes that I kind of voiced. It thought for 7 seconds. And here is the script. Let's evaluate. And you can see it's got the timestamp. So again, read up to 6 minutes, probably including my music, optional show notes, the 3 tiers. Yes, please. Let's do show notes for Buzzsprout, I usually add 150 words. Make sure they are SEO optimized for the podcast channels. So now, rather than me using VoicePal, going in and opening a blank sheet, so VoicePal will transcribe my notes and collect them. I put them into a Google Word doc and then I'll edit. Maybe now I can use my AI assistant and tidy that up. And of course here, look, we can dictate. So we can use voice. So this is an easier process for me. It's taking away multiple steps and I'm operating solely within my assistant. And the more that I use her for the podcast, I would say after a daily podcast, after 30 days, she's going to be as sharp as a razor.